Hi guys, this is Crossy of Eclipse Gaming TV and welcome to the first in what's going to be a new series on the channel titled Where Did It All Go Wrong? Now this will be a little bit out of the blue. I know, not had a video on the channel for a long time due to various other projects, real life events, that kind of thing. And there is a particular purpose why I'm recording this video, but the more I think about it, the more I think this would actually be quite a cool series to continue on with. So you'll be seeing more videos of this ilk, regardless of whether it pays off or not. Now, as an esports commentator that's been around for over a decade behind the mic, there have been, well, I know as well as anyone that we love the close games. We love the big comebacks. We love the triple overtimes. We love the intensity that comes with it. But this is time for us to have a look at the other side of things. You know, if you go to an event, you will always find during the early stages of a LAN event, there will be stomps. There'll be games where one team walks over another team. You know it happens at the course of an event. You expect it, and you write it off as being, oh, it's just a skill gap. That's all it is, and that is the end of it. What I'm going to do with this series is we're going to have a look at some of these stomps. And that's not necessarily going to be one super strong team against one really weak team. There will be some of those in the mix, of course. But we're going to have a look at something along the more competitive side of things as well. So it's going to be a little bit of play-by-play, as you'd normally get from me with a solo cast, but we're going to look at it more from an analytical point of view and see if we can pick up a few patterns. And this is the one we're going to be starting with. So, SK, what happened? This is going back to, well, I'll say a couple of weeks ago. This is less than a week ago from when this video went live. Cloud9 wipe SK 16-2 in ECS Season 4. The map is going to be Mirage. We'll get onto that one very soon. But we're going to take a little look at this game and figure out just what went wrong. And let's get into it nice and quickly. Little shout out to Blackout Gaming, a community that I am a part of, and I've got the overlay. Have put quite a bit of work in over the past few months on the Blackout Gaming channel for their weekly tournaments and for their official match team, that kind of thing. And we are underway here. We've got Cloud9 versus SK Gaming on Mirage. So Mirage, a favourite map of mine, potentially. I am primarily an AWPer. Don't play anywhere near the standard of these guys. I haven't even hit Global Elite yet. But it's a map that I really enjoy. As an AWPer, the mid area of this map is one particular area where you can have a lot of control potentially. Skadoodle up in the window. He's going to take that roll and he gets the one tap straight away from that position. Now, you see there are 3 players from SK Gaming in the mid area. Very difficult position to be playing from. You'll have multiple players looking in your direction, and because it's a linchpin area of the map, that's where a lot of the utility will come flying in from the terrorists. You get flashes, you get molotovs, you get smokes, you get all kinds of things going into that window to try and neutralize that position. And we see Skadoodle, he's going to pick up probably his second here. He's got automatic for support as well. Difficult position to be in. Taco, nice spot from the jungle, and they had to work together to make sure that they were able to get that defuse in, but they did exactly that. You'll see some teams where they might go one at a time and try and push the player at jungle. Gives an opportunity to either one, run the timer down, or 2, pick up both of the frags, but it doesn't happen on that occasion. Good plant for SK. So they're going to be going for, ooh, interesting choice. Okay, AK Force along with Ford Eagles. Got a scout in the hands of Skadoodle. Going to do what he can from the mid window. Very long-standing name, Skadoodle, for the Cloud9 organisation with the AWP in hand. Stewie 2K, he's going to go in, and that flash is actually going to work to his advantage as he pushes in through the apps and gets some early control. Coldzera's got to be very careful with that AK. If he goes and drops that over to the CTs, it's going to give them a lot of extra firepower. The amount of times that a second round AK has caused real problems, I cannot put into words. It tilts me so badly when there's an AK ripping through when we've got minimal armor on the team. Tarek with a couple though. He's up there from the site, so just sitting back, playing passive, good rifle control on display, as you'd expect from a player of his caliber. 4v2, Cloud9 probably going to pick this one up. SK going to be doing as much economic damage as they can. Ricardo with the AK, so Tarek is going to pick that one up. Nice upgrade, but he did already have an M4. Tries to launch that across to his teammate and doesn't manage to pull it off. But expensive for some SK Gaming, and they will have to go for a full eco this time around, pretty much following the standard meta. So let's go on board with Skadoodle. Let's see if he can get in for the early pick, and maybe we can dissect this mid position as time goes on. The Fallen, Ricardo, and well, both taken down to roughly half health each, over towards the A site, which they have got control of. Cloud9 going to be playing passive onto Angle. Skadoodle's got one, and he's got the second from the jungle as well, so really nice work from him. Rush going to come in and try and clean up. Got one in the apps. Does pick up that frag. Coldzera last man standing, and they are able to clean that one up fairly comfortably. Nice push from SK Gaming, managing to get onto the site. Now, we'll see if Cloud9 continue on with this. It clearly doesn't show that they have any problems because we know the overall score, but I would maybe question how easily they let SK have control of the site, especially on an eco. It's a little worrying, because I think if SK had full use of their utility when they had control of the site, they've got the opportunity to try and hold off. You know, it's very difficult to trap someone towards the CT steps. If you've got two players trying to rotate in from there, you've got multiple smokes, it's a real issue for you. Now we're seeing a full buy from both teams, aside from Stewie, who's going to rack up the money as best he can. We'll have a look at what he's managed to save in the coffers very soon. Smoke into mid, trying to push through. A lot of bullets raining down from the SK players, but nothing really counting from it. Skadoodle, he's dropped all the way out into the B apps area. Taco does get the opening pick in the end, actually. That's a nice start. Smoke into the apartments is just to try and slow things down just that little bit. And Fair gets a frag on Rush as well. Stewie 2K, though, from behind. He's still got the Bison. Chance to rack up the kills, and he does get the double headshot. Fallen and Taco both get dropped. And that is, I'm pretty sure with the Bison you get a double kill bonus for that. So that is really going to rake up the money. And Stewie 2K. Wow, he doesn't care with the AWP in hand, and I'm going to check his finances very soon, but you know, he's pretty much making sure that Cloud9 can continue to keep on buying. He does lose that AWP, actually, and little bit of a rage from him on the mic, kind of understandable, but you know, it doesn't quite pan out. And this is still a winnable round, potentially, for SK. Let's see what caused them the problems. Fair's going to catch that nade, and that's a Kobe. Okay. Nice work from Skadoodle. Coldzera gets one frag. He now pushes in, though. He's got not enough time really to play with. He does have that bomb in hand and does try and pick up the frag on Skadoodle down to 35, who hops away, plays the time to perfection, and yeah, I think that is going to be 4-0 to Cloud9. Super close. Super close. SK threw away a couple of opportunities to pick things up there. Skadoodle was within, well, literally half a second away from being taken out within the timer, and that would have brought things even. But that should have been a round on the board for SK. Couple of times they shouldn't have got taken out by Stewie 2K. Let's have a look at his money. He's still got 4K in the coffers despite everyone getting a full buy and utility. So important thing there. They are building money where they can. You know, and I mean, for example, I play with a guy that just uses the P90 the whole time. Now, that's a little bit limiting in terms of what he can do across the map. You know, at times you would love him to be better with a rifle so that he could do some serious damage for times like when he's rotating in and that kind of thing. But one advantage is he can keep building that backlog. So a time when you're thinking, really need to have an AWP for mid on the CT side, well, chances are the guy buying P90s every round has got the cash to be able to get that AWP down for you. You can have that thing in the window just a little more often than you normally would, and I think it's a little bit what's happening with Stewie 2K. If one or two players don't upgrade and can pick themselves up a bunch of frags with those weapons with a 200% kill bonus, then it just gives you something a little extra. So we've got Fair in the mid, trying to hammer down Stewie 2K, who does, at the second time of asking, pick up the frag with the AWP, and Cloud9 have a 5-0 lead. You can see already this is starting to run away. Mirage is one of those maps where it really is a momentum map. Not as many in CSGO as there perhaps was back in the days of Source, the momentum maps, but it's one where you really, really feel the squeeze of the economy on you if you don't get the rub of the green on the T side in particular. And yeah, it's difficult, and you can see, however it plays, you know, sometimes you can lose 12-3, 13-2 in a half, whether you're on CT or T side. It's just the way that it pans out, and you know, there's a lot of reasons for that. I'm sure we'll start to fall onto some of those reasons in this particular game. Stewie 2K opens his account with the frag on Taco. Ricardo goes for the step out of the apartments and walks straight into the AWP scope. Stewie 2K with his second. Fair is inside the smoke. Head poking out. We've got the benefit of X-ray. Stewie didn't, but he was still able to pick it up. It was Fair. Couldn't really commit all that much to it. And we've got last man standing. It's going to be Fallen. He does get one before he's traded out straight away from Automatic, who's going to pick up another weapon. Little chance to look at the finances. Lots and lots of cash in the bank for Cloud9. They can keep buying into this thing even if they lose this next round. For SK, however, they can't. Now, something I've noticed straight away, and that round highlighted it, is that there wasn't a whole lot of pressure in mid. There's a lot of utility in mid, but there's not a lot of pressure, and this is where the problem comes in. If you get that utility into the window, and you force the AWP out into jungle, which is often the position that they go to, and then from jungle into connector, it's close quarters, it's tough. You know, Skadoodle's a phenomenal AWPer. He would be able to pull off some frags from there, but it wouldn't be a comfortable position for him to be working from. They've got a nice cover here over towards the site. Tarek and Automatic do the damage. Coldzera comes in from the mid, and he gets two. Still got three players trying to hunt him down, but I think that's going to be a comfortable pickup, and it is as Cloud9 goes 7-0. But yeah, if you've got that AWPer, and let me see, I've tried this before and it hasn't worked particularly well, but I think actually this is working pretty well, which is cool. So if you're forced out of here into jungle, well, you might look towards the apartments area, and this is a half-decent spot. But if you've got teammates round about CT steps, maybe up on the stairs here, looking into Palace, then the last thing you want is to have to worry about what's happening in from the connector. So if you smoke out the window, you flush the AWPer to here, and you've got, say, an AK coming in from underpass, or from short, or from top mid, or any of these areas with a bit of utility, it causes so many problems for that AWPer. They'll probably get taken out, and one of two things. Either you can hit the site fast enough that the players looking at other angles can't react quickly enough, or two, you can pretty much pin them in behind cover, and it makes it a lot easier for other players to come out of Palace or up a ramp or the like. And if you're pinned in at areas like fireboxes, CT steps, etc., one smoke, one Molotov, a few flashes, it can make sure that they are stuck there for a good 15-20 seconds while you get access to the site and get your plum. Automatic cleans up, taking it to 8-0. Now, this is another thing to look at. We have not had a bomb plant for the last 4 rounds coming in from SK. Also worrying that there is Taco, Ricardo and Fair all with 4 frags between them so far after 8 rounds of Counter-Strike. Just haven't turned up to play at this point. But this is a good one to start on because we know that this isn't the standard. Some people might have even expected that the result would have been reversed and SK would have beaten Cloud9. A one map and then you're out kind of thing. It's tough, and I think this is why the best of threes and the best of fives are preferred formats for major competitions, because on one particular night, on one particular map, this can happen, but this should be a fairly even contest, at least on paper. So Taco, he does get the frag on Stewie 2K, so this is the chance, an opening gambit. We haven't had it for a while where SK have the numbers advantage. Taco, he gets smoked out. Minute left to go on the clock, but this is just a approach of trying to slow down their little push onto the side. You see Taco, he has to walk out. He gets taken down and Skadoodle does the work. That mid pressure, they did it the wrong way around. When the mid-pressure started to come in from the connector, Taco had already gone. He'd already lost his life. If Taco could have thrown some utility out, maybe it would have given more weight to the push in from connector and vice versa. But it's the trouble. When you lose 9 rounds on the bounce, even on T side, where the economy is cheaper to get the weapons that you need, that kind of thing, it's tough. And you find yourself perhaps lacking some of that utility that you would like. Secondly, if you're struggling to get any kind of entry picks, then what are you going to be trying to do? Well, you are probably going to be using that utility early on just to try and get yourself into the round. And it doesn't leave you too much to go up with after. Automatic, he's getting aggressive up on the short and doesn't actually pick up a frag. But I like the way that they're mixing up the sets. Skadoodle, see, he's playing back from range now. That's giving him that extra little advantage over towards the connector. Coldzera, he is trying to pull his team through this, and what a shot that is through the box. Tarek in a 2v1. This is the chance for him. Tarek brings it back even, runs through the fire though. That's going to do quite a lot of damage. Coldzera has seen him. He's already got 3 frags to his name, looking for the potential 4K. Plant's going to come in. Tarek gets out of dodge. Now, is he going to move back in? I think he almost definitely is going to go for this. Chance to have a look at the finances, and everyone's got plenty of cash. There is no excuse not to go for it. Switch himself up to an AK. A good chance for the first round to go on the board for SK, courtesy of a crisp 4K from Coldzera. Let's just see what happens here. Not enough time. First round's going to come in. Coldzera's going to pick up that 4K. Nice work from him. 11 and 8, trying to drag his team along, kicking and screaming. Now, beware the reset. You see, all but one player from SK was dropped in that round. They've all had to rebuy. That loss bonus that they've racked up from 7 straight rounds on the bounce, that's gone if they lose this round. All the pressure is on. They need to continue with an opening pick if they can get it out towards the mid area. And we will go back to that mid area at the end of this round and just talk about something that Automatic did. I think it was the round before. Just a little something about the Cloud9 setup and the way they're switching it. SK Fallen with the opening frag on Stewie 2K, so that's a nice start again. This is the chance for them to put some rounds on the board. Need to avoid the reset. They have that opening pick, and it's done, well, it hasn't done wonders for them when they've got that. Last time out, they didn't actually pick up the round, and that Taco got one from over towards the apartment. Skadoodle. Now, he's shifting up his position all the time. Orp on short. Again, like this once in a while. Taco gets a frag on Automatic. 5v3 in favour of SK. They're looking to avoid this reset, but Tarek might have a chance to make a frag on Taco. He's got no attention from his right, with the smoke in the window for the time being at least. Will he have heard those footsteps out towards jungle? No, probably not, and Taco picks up the frag on him. 5 versus 2. Money is still good for Cloud9 if they want to go for it. Rush gets one before he's traded away instantly, and this is a nice little hold they've got. Skadoodle is probably now going to be thinking save gaming. And let's go and have a look at that point that I wanted to talk about. So, normally, a lot of teams will have one player who plays mid-window with the AWP, and that's where they stay. All 15 rounds, they go into that position. But what we've seen here is Automatic, who is, you know, as the standard playing out towards the B. That one round, he came into mid and he played a little aggressive from here.
No, he can drop me back in it.
Skadoodle came in from short with the AWP, and from there it gives you something else, and you can peek towards chair, you can peek towards top of mid before you drop back. And then with that AWP, where he would normally be mid-window, there was the other round where he's playing it from here, looking out towards the connector. Now, this I like. Teams get so set in their ways about this is how we play Mirage, or this is how we play Dust 2. This is what our setup is. And that's fine. You know, it works more often than not. But what if it doesn't work? What if you need a plan B? What if it starts well and then the team start to figure out what you're doing, figure out your weak points, figure out what utility they can use to interrupt whatever it is you're doing that was a success. Insane. Have you got that plan B? Can you change it up? With Cloud9, they are doing exactly that. Players are drifting out. They're showing aggression at times. Other times they're popping up somewhere else. They're mixing up the weaponry that's in these positions. And it's just making it that little bit more difficult. You see Fair, he walks up through into connector. He hasn't got any teammates with him, and he runs straight into an AWP because that AWP is not sitting up in the window. You know, set, anchored there. Coldzera then, let's see what he can do. He gets taken down, so no big round for him this time out. 10-2, reset comes in. SK can buy into this. SK will buy into this almost definitely, but again, money is fragile. If they don't pick this one up, they are going to be in some trouble with 2 more rounds left to go. And we see Taka and Fair going for upgraded pistols in favour of getting full utility to try and give them opportunities to work into the site. Automatic again, he's going a little bit aggressive into the mid area. Just peeks out far enough that if they try and work a far short, they can do something about it. Stewie 2K with the AWP. Again, peeking through, looking through the smoke to see if anything happens towards the short area. Going to be hearing the bullets from there, so that's a sign. Automatic, he's up there on the short, but that Molotov actually goes straight past him. Pushed up into the hole half. Stewie 2K with the frag on Coldzera, and now Automatic. He's going to peek mid and does end up getting a frag out of that as well. So again, nice work. Now, SK just can't get anything really together. It's too disjointed. Fair gets himself up into the window. He's got a frag, he's got a weapon, but Rush is going to be in there, and Ricardo there, he goes for it and tries to bail his teammate out. Doesn't pick up the frag. Fur wasn't working with him, wasn't stepping at the same time, wasn't given the opportunity to get the refrag in, and eventually he's caught. Tarek's going to stop the last man falling. He tries to just get the money in the bank. They knew they were up against it. 11-2. 2 rounds left to go. 13 rounds to Counter-Strike. Ricardo and Fair both with only 2 frags to their name. Wow, that's worrying. You see Rush, 5-5 for him. Rush sitting out towards the A site, and they haven't really challenged the A all that much. Aside from that very early eco round where they barreled their way into the site and Cloud9 pretty much said, yeah, you can have it, and retook, they haven't put that much pressure on him. And you know, it's pretty much been a cursory glance from one player out of the Palace area. Rush gets 1, gets 2, flicks up. It's going to do with the AWP. 2K to his name. And this is another very comfortable eco bash. Tarek gets the final frag. CCSK. They were given access to the site. They didn't have it for very long. Granted, Cloud9 were able to pick up the frags to deal with it. But they have got into that site twice with no utility. And you yeah, it's been fairly comfortable for them. So I would have liked to have seen that worked a lot more. How many times do you play at the kind of level I play, for example? There are a lot of rush A strats with smokes, flashes, that kind of thing. See Taka, he's lining up a set flash here, or set smoke it will be actually. You can get smokes from over towards that area into A. You can cover off things like CT steps, jungle, the stairs, the sight box for anyone playing there, and you can flush players out if you get a few smokes in the right areas. But they've not worked it. You know, they got in. It worked. They weren't able to get the plant, but if they did it with weapons and a bit more utility in their hand, hey, maybe they would have got in, just like they had the last couple of times, but they haven't worked it. Instead, they've tried to get in through mid, where Cloud9, they haven't tried to do too much with it. It's very tempting to try and face and pick up frags and, you know, just go and pretty much face down 3 players at once for that AWP, but they haven't done it. Instead, they've been clever. They've flicked in from areas like short, and that's where the pressures come from. And let's highlight that really quickly now. So before we get into the first pistol, actually it's not letting me do that. So let me just highlight this to you really quickly now. So you come out of spawn, and then we have got the mid area. And the thing about mid is, just get a bearings actually. Okay, so this is where the mid area is. So it's very easy. If you're in the window on CT side, you have got players raining in from there. They can rain in from chair, from underpass, from up towards the boxes. You've got 4 or 5 potential angles where you could have players coming at you. So if you're in at that mid window, you could be stepping out with 3 scopes or iron sights looking in your direction. Now, if you apply that pressure from somewhere else, for example, so from short, you've got less angles. You've got the guy from chair who's looking in. You might have someone in connector facing in, but the connector guy is more worried. It's pretty much cutting the number of angles you can get caught from in half. That is a nice position to be in. Same thing, if you're coming in from connector from over towards the A site, you're cutting your angles in half. You've got a guy on short, if they've actually got themselves up onto the platform. You might have a guy from mid round about here. You might have someone from underpass, but you could pretty much use the cover and the walls to face yourself around there. We got Cloud9, so they are pretty much floating around the map and systematically taking out SK players. Far, far too comfortable, and you know, they're just playing with that same level of comfort that they've built up by putting that many rounds on the board. Second round AKs, 2 of the things. I mean, this could be a bit of a difference maker. I get the feeling it probably won't be. But if I didn't know that SK were getting no further rounds out of this particular match, I would be questioning this buy with the 2 AKs and saying, well, SK needs to get a lot of rounds on the spin to be able to bring this thing back home, but dropping AKs to them, well, potentially give them a couple of rounds. Coldzera, he, with the Deagle in hand, gets 1. And you see from there, he's only got 1 angle to worry about. There's a couple of players in mid looking in his direction, but he can step out, get the one on the tight angle, then he can go back and deal with a guy top right and mid, now at chair. If Coldzera wants to peek again, then again, he's only got that 1 guy up towards chair that he's got to worry about. He can face that 1 angle, and it's a 1v1 situation that's winnable for him. This opportunity he decides he's not going to reface that, but it's completely different if you tried to take the chair guy out from mid-window. If you did that, you've probably got a guy at the boxes or the top left or underpass or boosting into the window looking to do damage to you. As we see though, Cloud9, they are stacking up. Tarek grabs himself the AK. Oh no, it's a Galil actually, sorry. And he doesn't even need it. He flicks around, picks up the frag with the Glock, and they are in. This is far too comfortable. But you see, Cloud9, they are committing with numbers. They're not using a whole stack utility. I think 2 flashes did the job for him, but they committed with numbers. They hit the site. This is a more standard setup, if you like, and they don't need to go too aggressive on mid at all, really. And there was that little pick where Stewie2K went down to coldzera, but they don't need to do too much. Fallen manages to get rushed as he steps out into the mid area. He's just looking for exit frags though, probably not going to get the chance to recover a weapon. Automatic going to go on the hunt maybe. Enough rounds on the board, it was a tempting thing for him to do it, but no, he's going to fall away for the time being. Skadoodle, though, he pushes in from CT steps, picks up that final frag, and we are at match point. So let's see what Cloud9 have got cooking here. Upgraded pistols. Limited utility. Push pans out, and they are hitting the A site en masse. Would you look at that? All kind of activity going in. Plant going to come in, and we are going to see the 16-2 coming in. Unless Taco wants to go huge and pick up a 5k, and he doesn't. GGs get exchanged, and that is the end of that. So, let's have a little bit of a think about what happened there. Match over 16-2. Couple of keys to the game. First key to the game, SK were looking a little too much, I think, to get that mid control. Now, whenever I give an introduction to Mirage, it's the same with other maps. Cache is another great example where the first thing that I'm going to talk about is mid-control in terms of potential keys to the map. It's one of those areas where if you have access to it, you've got so many options in where you can work. You can get in through connector. You can get in through short. You can get up onto short to peek into connector to make frags onto the A site. You can get in through underpass into mid, or it opens up underpass so you can get underneath, catch players trying to rotate out of B if you're making enough noise out towards A, that kind of thing. You can boost into mid window that gets your player into jungle, might allow you to double peek the player that's up in Palace from Palace itself. You can get and actually attack short from that area if you want to, or you can just keep hold of it and use it to fire off shots and to throw misdirections while you get set up for whatever kind of play that you want to. Having access to mid on the T side can be huge for what you want to do. But what we saw from SK is they were so hell-bent on getting it, and Cloud9, they weren't committing too much. Skadoodle, yeah, he stepped into the mid window and he took some peeks out of there. So did Stewie2K when he had an AWP in hand. But more often than not, they were comfortable working from different angles. Automatic over towards the B. He would take that peek from short. Skadoodle will sometimes take that peek from short with the AWP. It gives you opportunities to work from that as well. And then they would also play that AWP from the CT steps, but looking in the direction of connector, letting them have some kind of access to mid. And, it was often Skadoodle picking up 2-3 frags with the AWP, peeking into connector from there. And, it was far too easy because, it's a tough shot. All right. I think we touched on it, actually. It's very tough if you have an AWP in hand and you try and play it from jungle looking into connector. It's a little too close quarters. You're at a disadvantage. You have to be on point. You can probably deal with one player from there, but if two of you hit at once, they're just going to refrag you. But playing from where he was, in a more passive position, it allowed for him to use the range of the weapon, and it gave him an advantage against the SK rifles. Another thing, SK didn't really learn from the areas where they had success. They had two particular rounds I can think of. They were both on ecos, and they were able to charge into the A site. One of the times they got a plant down, the other time they got cut down. But they had limited utility to do that, and they had limited weaponry to be able to out-frag that. Now, what you could have done, knowing that there wasn't much of a commitment or much of a chance to get that opening gambit in mid, is said, right, okay, let's work that A site. If they're getting into the A site with the ease that they did, with weapons, with full utility, they probably could have got the plant, used the smokes and the Molotovs to pin back the players in CT steps and in the jungle connector area, delay the attempt at the retake, and then you're playing a game of time by that point. And I think what would happen is, in that situation, if you are getting into these sites consistently, then you have to think about where you play. Automatic might not want to be peeking short then, because it gives him less time potentially to rotate into A. Or his route into A would be through mid, through connector. There's a player still holding mid. That's risky. So he would have to sit further back onto the site to try and rotate through safe into kitchen, try and get CT steps as an example. So by doing that, it gives you a little more room to work in mid. You won't have the player from short facing and forcing you. Makes it easier for you to then get up the short, plus use the apartments, and you could then open up plays into B as well. Now, that's all you need to start making sure that these CT players are honest and holding the angles that they need to. Because if you aren't really causing them too many problems and you're just sitting in mid, they can just say, go on then, have mid. We'll just pick you off from distance when we want to. If we don't feel like it, we can drop back. You have to come to us. You have to get the bomb plant. You've run down, what, a minute of the clock sitting around in mid, messing around with it, not really doing too much. So come on then. You come with your 30 seconds left and make an entry into the site and see what you can do. So disappointing from SK that they didn't think that maybe we should just hit the sites with some set smokes and that sort of thing. And it happened so early on. It was first round. It was on the pistol round. They got complete control of the site and the retake came in. Or was it second round, actually? But first or second round of the match, they were able to get access. And, you know, Cloud9 stepped back and was super passive and just let them have it, and then went for the retake afterwards and favoured them in that position. That's your warning sign that maybe you've got some opportunities where you can get into sites, get plants, and then from that point it's down to you versus them in the individual battles and holding angles and the like to see what can come of it. But very, very out of sorts performance from SK all in all. Thank you very much for watching this first video. I'm going to try and get a few more of these in over the coming weeks and months because I've enjoyed going through it in this way. And I think, you know, it's very easy to go and have a look at a best of three that's gone the distance with overtimes and the like and say, oh, wow, what a game. But it's worth us having a look at some of these games where one team completely rolls over the other and see if there's something that they did particularly well or if there is something that the other team did particularly badly. And I think in this situation, Cloud9, yeah, they had to make the frags. They had to pull off the kills that they got. But SK didn't challenge them. They just allowed Cloud9 to sit back and play in positions that made them comfortable. They could drift around and switch roles and just give different looks to the SK team. Too much emphasis on mid-control, not enough emphasis on getting into the sides, getting the plants down, and trying to do something damaging and incisive. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, then please get in touch with me on social media, which you'll be able to see here on the background, Twitter at mcrossy12. Also, I will try and do a bit more on my Twitch channel, which you can follow, Eclipse Esports TV. That's very limited at the moment, but there will be the occasional action on there, so it'd be good to get a follow from you guys so you can keep updated with all of the information, plus further videos in this series of Where Did It All Go Wrong on the Eclipse Gaming TV YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.